YouTube. I am finally back. One of the shows you all love, the Lamont and Larry show. We're going to actually get that cranked off today, finally, for the first time in a long while. I'm not all over the place trying to make connections for a good little bit. And so we're going to try to bring you all that entertainment that you seem to like. You seem to respond to it. And we're going to try to get you all started back today. Happy to be back with everybody. It's been a long time, and we're going to try to entertain you all as best me and Larry possibly can do. Now, while I was away, Lord have mercy, there was story after story after story happened. I mean, man, damn. We had Shannon Sharpe quit Undisputed, and that hurt my feelings because Undisputed is one of the only shows I watch on a regular. Like, I love that sports show. And I'm going to say 80% of the reason why I loved it was because of my Aunt Shannon Sharpe. Well, I got the latest news on him. We got to talk about this Flash debacle. My hardcore fans watched me do a movie review for it, and I had nothing bad to say about the movie in terms of what happened from a cinematic standpoint. Oh, yeah, did I bash Ezra Miller? You know I did. But his acting in the movie was great. And the revenue made from this movie is horrible. First week was horrible. Second week was even worse. One of the lowest for a superhero film in history in this day and age, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to talk about that fallout. A show that you guys love that I review is called The Chi. Season 6, they dropped the teaser. I got it here, and we're going to have to talk about that damn teaser because even though it was a teaser, they gave us some insight as to what might happen coming up in the future with The Chi. And you all seem to really like it when I review that show with the crew, so we got to talk about that. We got to talk about racist Republican America's favorite president, Trump. I mean, man, what can I say? Other than we're learning really and truly what matters to America. This man is in court over classified documents that he basically said he didn't have and he really did. And yet he is still the front runner to be the president of the United States. Wow. Last but definitely not least, what we got to cover is the fallout from the billionaires. It's no laughing matter, ladies and gentlemen. And when things hurt to me, sometimes I have to just laugh it off. And what happened with those dudes is sad, but it's a microcosm of what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with American capitalism, and what's wrong with the perception of who's valuable in society. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get this thing started off. But before we do it, let me bring in my co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know this brother very well. It's the living legend, a fucking living legend, ladies and gentlemen. Big Larry in the building. What's up, Big Larry?
Man, how you feeling, man? It's been a long time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got to do what I got to do, brother. I'm trying to make some things happen for next year, and I'm juggling like 20 different things, so it's hard to get up here, but I'm back for a little bit.
Right. I've been following the progress online, so I see you here and there and everywhere.
Yeah, man. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the way I do this show, I never tell Larry what we're going to do because I don't want him.
He really doesn't. I have no idea what we're talking about.
I don't. I normally tell everybody else. I do. But I don't tell Larry because I just want his raw. I want to hear what first comes to his mind. And then if it's crazy enough, we debate it out. So you all that been following us forever, you know how this goes. But Larry, let me give you the first subject we're going to cover. Now, I know, Larry, you're not big into sports, but I do know that because of how much you love your African American people, you follow those that support our people.
Right.
And one of those sports figures was Shannon Sharpe. And
Okay.
he was on a big morning sports show called Undisputed, and he has gone. And a lot of us want to know what's his future going to be. So, Larry, for your entertainment pleasures, my brother, I have a little update on what's going to happen to my main man, Shannon Sharpe. And I'm going to play the video for you. Let's take a look, and then we'll break it down. Here we go.
Guys, first we're going to talk about Shannon Sharpe. As you know, he had the tweet the other day saying he'll return to morning television soon. Well, we got a little bit more insight on who he's in negotiations with. It says that Shannon Sharpe is talking with FanDuel right now, who, you know, recently just lost Pat McAfee, and he was pocketing $30 million over there at FanDuel. So they would love to make a big splash with someone like Shannon Sharpe losing the talent like Pat McAfee back to ESPN. So, yeah, they would love to add him. Also, keep your eyes open for DraftKings because they wouldn't want to see Shannon Sharpe go to their competitor. You know what I'm saying? So they have that going on too. But Shannon Sharpe is in negotiations with FanDuel. It would make sense for him and them. And the source says that he doesn't want to miss football season. It's his bread and butter, the thing that he's most knowledgeable about. So he doesn't want to go through that season. You don't want to lose your steam. Like, he's the hottest commodity, or will be the hottest acquisition for whoever acquires him, you know what I'm saying, gets him on a contract. He would be the hottest person to grab right now. He don't want to see that go down. And
wow. So Big Larry, let me throw the alley-oop to you first and foremost. They're speculating that he left Undisputed because, number one, his co-host Skip had all creative control of what go on the show. Okay, he had all that. Then Skip would randomly disrespect this man because Skip is a Tom Brady fanboy. Mind you, Shannon is a LeBron fanboy because of a lot of what LeBron does off the court. But they would go at it, and then it came to a head one episode when basically Skip told the man, "Put your damn glasses back on," when they got into an argument about Shannon Sharpe being jealous of Tom Brady. And so Shannon Sharpe renegotiated his deal and said, "Look, I'm out of here, man," because they do pose, and Shannon Sharpe was like so hot on the show because of his charisma.
Right.
Now, Larry, that he's gone. And let me just tell you guys this. One of the line producers that does Shannon Sharpe podcast also did a film that I executive produced. So I might get some access to him. So you guys stay on the lookout for that. But Larry, he has a chance to go to FanDuel or DraftKings, replace Pat McAfee, and make $100 million. So my question to you, Larry, was this a good move for Team Shannon Sharpe?
Yeah, I feel like when you have someone like Shannon Sharpe and as big as he is, and I'm sure, I don't know what agency he's with, but I'm sure it's a big one. I'm sure I would be surprised if he's not with CAA or something. They made a power move. It wasn't just like something where they were saying, okay, well, dude's angry, doesn't like his co-host. It was a calculated move. They probably had deals that were in negotiation prior to him leaving, so that once he left, he knew where he had a couple of options, one or two, and he's going to make his choice soon if he hasn't already made it and announce it and make a big splash somewhere. So, you know, and part of this thing is now you have these other entities that are coming up, like you said, like DraftKings and FanDuel, these gaming sites that are getting into, you know, to other areas. You know, they're really starting to get into media and such. I mean, if you go down here to the National Stadium in DC, right next door is the MGM, what is it? MGM gaming, whatever you call it. So they have a ton of money to throw at stuff.
The casino, they got that big ass casino.
Well, they have the casino up there, but right next to the stadium is like their betting, you know,
what?
like their gaming thing, their sports book. That's what the MGM sports book is, right next to the
in Washington, in
yeah,
DC.
right next to National Stadium. But that's the thing. They have these gaming entities have all kinds of money to throw at people.
All kinds. Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be one of those things where you're gonna find some people watching Shannon Sharpe do what he did, and there's probably gonna be some other people leaving. They're gonna be like, you know what? I'm not the happiest here, and I can go somewhere else and make, twice as much as what I'm making right now, and have better working conditions, more creative control, just a happier work environment. And I think I'd be surprised if you didn't see some other folks leaving. You might see some ladies leaving ESPN who've complained about their situation. I wouldn't be surprised.
In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say I'm happy for Shannon Sharpe, and I think FS1 just made a big mistake. I get that you brought Skip on to be you took a risk. I get that. But as Shannon Sharpe would always say, you got to update your resume. And Shannon Sharpe brought so much charisma to the show, it made people like me stick with the show, and that's not to say I didn't like Skip. He was okay. But a subscriber made me aware of just kind of how condescending and crazy Skip can be on the low. And I started taking notice of that, but I hung in there for Shannon Sharpe. And you just made a big mistake, FS1, because Shannon Sharpe is going to no longer need a network to supplant and pay him. Because I can tell you right now, Larry, they are going to let Shannon Sharpe have creative control, because the beta test for him is his Club Shay Shay podcast, where he's having Steve Harvey and Candy Burris and all kinds of black celebrities come on the show with him. Imagine if he's allowed to do this on whatever contract that he signs with FanDuel or the other one, where he can bring in other ex-NFL players to his podcast or his show, and he can set the narrative. Larry, FS1, you just blew it. You blew it. If I were you, I would get on the phone right now, pay that man whatever he wants, and tell him he has creative control. Fuck a damn Skip.
And that's the interesting thing nowadays with the way the industry is in a sense, where you have the internet with podcast and YouTube and various other platforms. It used to be that these celebrities, these ball players or actors and actresses, they needed the networks, they needed the studios, they needed the leagues, they needed everybody to accept them so that they can make their money. Now, once these people have a fan base, once they become a known commodity, they can go do their own thing.
Anything.
They can go do it seems to me like everybody and their grandmother as a celebrity now wants their own podcast. Why? Because you could get out there and go directly to your audience. You get advertisers on there. You can make a boatload of money if you become at all successful at it. And you don't have to share much of the money with anyone, because it's not something where you need this massive team. You need a couple of people to help with the production, maybe somebody for sales and marketing. And then you're good. You could probably run a high-end podcast with maybe a team of 5 to 10 people, and that's that. And then all that money is coming in is mostly yours. So
pretty much. And Larry, his podcast only had 4 people doing all the film, all the stuff. Only 4 people.
So I mean, it's just it has gotten infinitely easier for people to reach their audiences without having to be dependent on studios and networks and terrestrial broadcasts and all the other stuff. You can just go straight to the people. And I mean, it's funny because it seems like, as you would think you would think that it would detract stuff, that would make stuff smaller in a sense, but it has just caused people to watch more and more and more. And so, some people would think, well, if he's not on TV, he's going to find maybe a small audience somewhere else. But you may go somewhere else and find your audience is just as big, or you may go somewhere else and find, I don't need an audience that's 50 million strong every morning, because 5 million makes me more money. because I don't have to share it with everyone. You know,
and plus, Larry, he got the podcast. I mean, he's got the podcast that he also does YouTube on. He's got those two things, and he gets millions of views on that. And we both know how much money is involved when you get millions of views a week on your YouTube. You know, so ladies and gentlemen,
good for him, man. Good for him.
Good for him. We'll follow that brother. I'll keep you abreast of him, and hopefully, you know, I might get up on that Club Shay Shay and make some things happen. And maybe he'll help me fund some of my film. Damn, come on.
There you go.
Next thing we got to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, a show Larry gave up on, but I'm going to try to drag his ass back. The Shy. Season 6 is on the way. They dropped the teaser. I'm going to have us watch the teaser with the homie Larry. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, get your lunchtime cookies and snacks together. Let's take a look at The Shy, Season 6. Larry, I got to tell you, man, this season looks like they really done got back to kind of the essence and done better. Because let me tell you what I seen in that trailer. A character that in the beginning was kind of goofy and a little off-putting is now the protagonist. That's Emmett. He's the protagonist because he and Keisha are officially together.
I did see that.
Officially together. And that was kind of something that all the audience wanted to see. All right. But the problem is he was trying to be a better man. And that was something that you complained about. You wanted a positive man on the show. Well, you've got two of them now. And Emmett was one of them. But here's the problem, Larry. And this is also my problem with American capitalism. In order to get to that next level, you always got to beg somebody who's got the money. And so at the end of last season, he kind of got caught up with Duda. Emmett did, trying to be a better man, trying to save a business. And now he's having to do the bidding of Duda. We've seen a casket moving somebody in this trailer. Larry, I'm here to give you the early prediction. Don't be surprised if Emmett has to take out either Duda or Duda's right-hand man. Floor is yours on anything you've seen in that trailer.
Well, we see him with a gun in his hand pointing it at somebody shaking. So it wasn't like, I mean, when you're up there shaking like that, that's not because you think you're not going to pull the trigger. You know, you're shaking because you know that trigger pull is imminent. You're just scared about it, you know?
Exactly. Yep.
So,
100%. Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, man. Okay. With this show, the best thing about this show is that it has given a lot of Black people opportunity. It's given Black actors and you know, and I'm assuming there's quite a few Black folks behind the scene. Oh, one of my lights went down. You know,
yeah,
I know. I have to work that out in a minute. You know, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's giving a lot of Black people opportunities, and I'm glad to see that. But when I watched the trailer, it very much seemed like they're just rehashing the same old themes that they do every single season. It's like the same themes over and over and over again. And I would like for them to flip it up a little bit. And I don't want to call it lazy, because I'm not going to say that. I haven't seen it, so I don't know what's going to be in there. But from what I've seen, it looks like the same old things. And I don't want to call it lazy, because sometimes, you know, you may want to do something different. And the studios are like, we don't want that. We want the same. We want the same thing, because that's what we know is going to sell. And so you give them the same thing. So,
yep.
But at some point, shows jump the shark because it's the same thing. And that's not necessarily just Black shows. That's every show. After it's been on for long enough, they do the same old thing. They rehash the same old sort of storylines. They may put in a new character or two, but it's basically the same thing. Someone gets shot, someone gets killed, someone's in trouble, someone gets pregnant. Yeah.
Well, Larry, you hit on a lot of good points. And point number one being that here's the ultimate point. If you're someone working in Hollywood and you're beholden to somebody else's money, which is why I'm complaining about capitalism, you have to acquiesce to some of the stuff they want done. And Hollywood loves to rehash stuff that has been successful in the past because they want to make money.
Yeah.
And it's such a cutthroat arena. It's such a you can be broke arena that people only want to do what they know works. And so maybe, even though that was a teaser, and we, like you said, we really don't know what's going to happen. If they are going by the same old, it's only because that's what has worked in the past, and that's what they want to see continue working. And for a show like this to make it 6 seasons, we got to give them an applause because that's great. And you're putting Black people on stage saying that, you know what, we can tell stories. And not only can we tell stories, but we can have success for over multiple seasons telling stories. Having said all that, the difference between a film and TV show, this is what I've learned so far on this journey, Larry. When you are a filmmaker and you do scripts for TV, you do not have to fund that yourself. The networks fund it.
Right.
If you are a filmmaker and you want to do a movie, you got to search for funds from either a network or you got to search for funds from rich people. You typically got to come up with the money on your own and have a proof of concept before a major network decides they want to get behind you.
Right.
That's the biggest difference. TV shows, if the networks like the script, they'll make them. Movies, not so much. And so,
which to me, I always thought is kind of crazy because for each TV show that's like a high-end show, each episode is like the budget of an indie film.
Pretty much.
You know?
Pretty
I
much.
mean, you make a show and you have a budget that's like $2-3 million an episode. And
right.
You know, more if you're depending on who you are. I mean, you look at some of these shows that have been on like Friends and whatnot, where people are making $2-3 million an episode. Actors, each of the actors, I mean, they're talking about huge amounts of money each episode. You would think that they might be willing to take a few more chances with movies than TV shows. I mean, but I get it. You get the scripts, you make your pitch. You get lucky if you get a pilot. They shoot the pilot. They tell you, okay, we'll give you the first 9. And then hopefully you make it past, you hope you make it past, you have good enough ratings. Because I've seen shows that have gotten canceled after the first episode. They get the pilot out. They go through the whole pilot season. They get on the air. And then they don't get the ratings that the network expected during the first episode, and they're canceled and never come back. And then if you're lucky and you like the show, they may tell you can watch the other 8 or whatever online or somewhere,
Right.
Oh.
All right. Well, let me give a big shout out to the big homie DeMarcus Vaughn coming through with the $5 super chat. And if you like what me and Larry do, you can also send a super chat to this channel as well. Let me read his super chat about The Chi season 6.
Yeah, and let me be right back. I'm gonna go see if I can get my light right.
Take your time. DeMarcus Vaughn says, I believe that Victor/Trig would take out Duda because he feels that Duda is destroying the community, and Rashad would take the rap for Vic. Hey, DeMarcus, you always welcome on this channel. You be coming through with the fire ass theory. I could see that happening. I really could see that happening because, as I was telling Larry, they have turned 2 brothers into great protagonists, Black dudes, Trig and Emmett, and they both are trying to, clean up the community to a degree, but are learning that to do things the right way, unfortunately, the way our system works.
Wait, Trig? You're talking about Trig being a good asset to the community? The closeted homosexual, sociopathic murderer? That dude?
He turned it around, man. He turned it around last season.
So he came out of the closet and stopped murdering people?
He came out the closet. He stopped murdering people. They basically have taken his story from, he was keeping that as a secret. He was killing people to now he was about to be like what was he about to be, city council or something like that, and started seeing and started seeing that he's got to turn it around because he can be a positive influence for young men. But now he's about to get drugged right back into the deep just because it is very hard to make it doing it the legit way. So
that's one of those issues that I've had with this show all along, is when, especially when it comes to black men, is that they show black men that if you basically have been a dirtbag, that there's a path to redemption for you, that you get to have a level of success. You get to be able to turn it around, to start a business, to to run for city council, to run for mayor, to do all this other stuff if you're a dirtbag. But if you're a good guy, if you're an upstanding citizen, a reputable dude, a guy who's trying to do right from the beginning, there's nothing for you. We have nothing for you. And that's the example that we want to show the world, is that good people, good black men fail and have no success. You have to be a piece of crap to be able to get any success. And
you know what I think the problem is with that, Larry? The problem that exists with that in TV is to some degree the same problem that exists in real life. The good guy is boring. He's boring.
I don't think so. I think the problem is that the bad guy is easy. I think that's where I think that, and this is where I don't like to call people lazy, but this is where I think you have the laziness that comes in, because I think the bad guy is easy to write for. I think the bad guy is easy because he has all the conflicts that are already just sort of built in and ready to exploit. And if you look at real life, there's a lot of good guys that are interesting. Barack Obama is infinitely interesting, and he is a good guy.
But he's not your average guy. You did say the average guy.
No, but if you look at these guys in the hood, if you look at the Dudas in the Trig and the other, these are not average guys either. They may not be extraordinary like Barack Obama, but even in the hood, they are not the average, I'm going to work 9 to 5 type dude. There's a lot of good stories. If you look at a show like Good Times, right? Good Times was out there. This was a story. This was a show about a very average family, a very average family that was phenomenal. JJ was a good guy, and he was an infinitely interesting character with all of his eccentricities or whatever. I forgot how to pronounce the word. I haven't used it in so long, and Thelma was fine as hell in all of the ways.
Here's the thing about that, Larry. That was comedy, not drama.
Right. But you could do it with drama. You could do it with drama. You don't need to be, if you look at all the shows out there, you look at the Grey's Anatomies, the CSIs, the NYPD Blues, all the other shows that have been out there. You have all these characters that have interesting people in there. And they have flaws. They're humans. They have their human flaws. And those flaws make them interesting. They make them who they are. They develop, those personalities as the character develops. All that stuff comes out because of those flaws. And they don't have to be dirtbags. They could just be human beings with human frailties and flaws and be interesting. It doesn't, that's the one problem I've had with this show. It seems like they were so overboard in making black men horrible for no good reason. Like there was no, and part of my thought with this is that I know Lena Waithe is a lesbian, and I have known, because I have lived around lesbians for a long time. I lived in Long Beach, California for years, which was like the lesbian capital of California. There were so many openly hostile, encounters that I've had just for existing in their spaces, as they say. I've literally walked in to a place to go to the bathroom and had people scream at me to get out. This is not for you. And I'm like, I just want to use the restroom. Damn, And I know that there are lesbian people out there that hate men.
Get your straight, put a penis in a woman ass up out of here. Get out, Larry. Get the hell out.
But
Get
my
the hell
point
out.
is that when you have people, and I know that, and this is not true for all lesbians, so I don't want people to say, I'm not making a blanket statement, this is for everyone, but I know that historically there has been a swath of that community that is very hostile towards men. And when you have someone who is writing these stories, and they're writing about men, and so much of what they write about black men happens to be just really, really negative, I have to question whether or not there is an agenda behind it. And I just don't. I just have a problem. Like, I understand that Chicago and some of these urban areas are really messed up and have some real issues. And I don't have a problem with people talking about them, discussing them in a narrative format. But at some point, my God, you have to be fair with it. You have to be fair with it. And I think this show has been anything but that towards black men. And that was mainly the problem. I know I've said this before. I just wish I know Lena Waithe is a talented writer and producer, and I really think her talents could be better used. And I think whether she's doing it because that's what the networks have said, this is what we want to see, and she's gone along with it, or because this is just coming from her heart, I think there's better content in her, and I hope somewhere along the line it comes out.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it comes out in August. I will most likely be doing reviews for it, so just sit tight, stay tuned. Now I got to bring Larry on something else.
I feel like I might need to watch this so I can do some more diatribes like that. I feel like that was a bit of a relief.
Okay, there you go. And next thing I know, you might be a super fan of the show all over again. Who knows? But Larry, there's something else that you might be about to diatribe about. Lord have mercy.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about The Flash. Damn it. Just damn it. And I'm talking about The Flash because, Larry, I'm a DC guy. This poster on my wall doesn't say Marvel. It says DC. It says DC.
Dumb
And
Comics?
on in the movie theater.
Dumb Cinema?
Golly, man. And for the longest time, people have known that when I go see DC movies, I have not had nothing nice to say.
Yeah.
It has been a lot of harsh criticism.
I still ride for their villain stuff, though. Their villain stuff is fire.
I mean, well, what's fire in totality is the animation. Their animations are amazing.
Their animation's dope.
Out of 10 animations, you might get 2 bad ones, which is 80% good.
Right.
However, as much as I did the review, and if you didn't watch it, you can go watch it. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, this was my best review of a DC movie in years. The movie, The Flash, was great. But the problem is it ain't making no damn money. So, Larry, let's take a look at this, and then we'll try to figure out why the hell is this movie, and I think me and you are going to know why, it's bombing at the box office. Take a look at this, Big Larry.
After The Flash failed to pick up speed during the week heading into the second box office weekend and officially setting a new record for a Friday to Friday drop at the box office, it somehow managed to stumble and hit a brick wall harder than anybody could have foreseen, as the box office numbers for the weekend are coming in, and saying they're bad might be the ultimate understatement.
Shout out to my big homie at Comic Book Cast. Y'all go check out his YouTube channel.
So once again, the final box office numbers will not be in till like Monday or Tuesday morning when WB makes them official. And rest assured, they're going to want to account for every single ticket sold to try to get as high as possible. But the current reports coming in as of Sunday morning / afternoon is that The Flash on its second weekend has managed to make only $16 million. Now, quickly, I could talk about the good and the bad in regards to this, but there's literally no good here. As a matter of fact, it is so bad that If I was WB, I would just pull a Microsoft and stop reporting numbers. But unfortunately for them, Microsoft can do that in regards to Xbox sales, and the box office tracking, well, that's not down to the studio alone, as literally there's a whole industry for tracking it, and a lot of money to be made on tracking it from investors. So it's going to be a, I'm just going to assume right now that with these numbers, come Monday and Tuesday morning at WB, people will be fired. The Rogue One sirens will be blazing, and there's going to be all sorts of conversation and reshuffles. Make no mistake about it.
So, Larry, let's break this down. I seen it. It was a damn good movie. This was easily one of the DCEU's top 3 movies they've done in the last 10 years. It's that good.
Wow.
But Larry, let's address the elephant in the room. This shit is doing horrible, most likely because of Ezra Miller. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
come on now.
It's been so long, and so many stories have come out about this guy. I mean, I feel like they've invested so much into this movie and its place inside the DC cinematic universe that they were saying we can't let him go down. We have too much invested in this. And now it's just because they've let it go for so long. There's so many people know about it. It just flopped. There was a lot of people that were just like, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see it because I don't want to see him. And I think they were just sort of, I think there's a lot of factors. One, I think there is, and I know people don't want to acknowledge it, but I think there is a quite a bit of comic book, movie fatigue, superhero movie fatigue. There's a lot of people out there that are like, I'm tired of seeing them right now. Or I'll wait till there's the one that I just can't miss, but the other ones I'll just wait till they come on streaming because I'm just kind of tired of them. And I know comic book fans like us don't want to hear that, but when you listen to other people who are not big comic book fans, you hear a lot of people saying, geez, another one? I'm good, I'll wait, And I mean, you still have a lot. I mean, I know that some of these movies are making a lot of money in the box office, but there's a lot of people that are just not going back to the movies yet. There's a lot of people that are just comfortable saying, you know what? I used to have to see the movie, I used to have to see the movie on opening weekend, but I'm okay. I can wait 3 months. I can wait 3 months till it comes on HBO Max or Max, whatever they call it now, or I can wait till it comes on Disney Plus. And you add all of the craziness, all the shenanigans that this guy was involved with on top of that, it's just going to lead to bad box office receipts, especially when everything that you've heard, all the critics that from every single review that I've heard from this movie has said it's good. Everyone. I don't think I've heard anybody say this movie's trash. Don't bother. Wait till it comes on stream. Everybody I've heard said this is one of, if not the best DC movie that's been out.
Mm-hmm. It was great. Now, I disagree with Larry on comic book fatigue because at the end of the day, if folks are truly fatigued, they're not going to watch it on streaming either. They're just not going to watch it. So I think Larry's argument would work for this movie, but in totality of comic book movies this year, I can't say that because Guardians of the Galaxy made $1 billion. Super Mario Brothers, which is a comic but a video game, that made over $1 billion.
Right, but I'm not counting them because I'm thinking like superhero movies.
Well, Mario's a superhero.
You think so?
Yeah, Mario Superman. You know how many people is nostalgic? Where's my thing at? Look at this. Look. Let me show you this because I keep all kinds of shit in this house. Look at that.
That is dope.
Yeah, that's an homage to the first ever hero that I played on a video game and didn't know that they had a comic book, the Super Mario Brothers. I didn't know that.
I guess my thought is that when I'm thinking about superheroes, I'm thinking of the DC, Marvel, Dark Horse type type comic genres, you know.
I think, Larry, I think people just got a bad taste in their mouth from DC and Ezra Miller because the Black Adam was okay. It wasn't like it was okay.
That's
like
what it was. It was like,
Yeah. Black Adam was in. And the history of these movies.
Shazam was terrible.
Oh my God. And see, now you're going where I'm going. I truly feel like because the last two movies leading up to The Flash were not that good, and Ezra Miller, people just said, hands up, don't shoot. I'm not going to see this shit. I'm not. And you missed out because this was actually a good movie. So, Larry, the question is, where does DC go from here? Do we go ahead and get rid of Ezra Miller, reboot the whole thing the way James Gunn is doing? What do you think?
I personally think they should have gotten rid of him a long time ago.
Okay.
I think they should have gotten rid of him a long time. I am of the mindset. I know people disagree. I know we've had this debate via you and B have had this debate on the thread where about Jonathan Majors too, and I've said that when you are a very highly paid actor, part of your job is to stay out of trouble. That's what it is. And when I mean stay out of trouble, don't do anything that's going to cause reputational harm to your employer. And so part of that is it's like if you do something stupid, then you should just be let go. Like there's no reason why you can't replace somebody. Every time I have watched a movie where they have replaced an actor, it is only an issue for about the first 5 minutes. And then I'm like, if it's a good actor, I'm no longer seeing the actor. I'm seeing the character that they're playing.
Okay.
And so I don't think it's a big deal to replace actors in certain roles. For me, I would, if this was me, I simply would have gone to the WB's Flash. I would have pulled that kid out and said, "You're in this movie now.
And
you are now the movie Flash."
Yeah, he's good, man. He's good, and I think his name is Grant Guy. I think I could be wrong, y'all, but he's good, and he's been on that show like 6-7 seasons on the Flash, and I mean,
and as long as he's not tired of playing that role,
yeah,
as long as he's not tired of playing it, bring him in, let him do it.
So,
I mean, if you have a great script, you already know the guy can act, you know he's good in that role, let him play it.
Exactly.
You know?
All I can hope, my people, is that WB get this stuff together because I just love DC Comics and the potential of what they could do. And I think we're getting ready to turn the corner with James Gunn. They just got a new Superman last night. They got a new Superman and Lois Lane. And I'm pretty okay with the characters that they got to play those characters going forward. I think we're going to be in good hands.
You know what I think they should have done? And I know different folks have different opinions about day and day.
The Flash on the CW's name is Grant Gustin.
Grant Gustin, gotcha.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think what they should have done, and they couldn't have, and I know they couldn't have predicted the terrible box office, in advance, and from every indication, I'm sure they focus grouped the hell out of this film, and everybody came back and said it was great. So I'm assuming they probably expected to have really, really great things happen for them when word got out that it was a good movie. But I honestly think they probably should have just went ahead and put this out on Max, on HBO Max. Like they were doing the whole rebranding thing from HBO to HBO Max to just Max. When they were rebranding to just Max, this should have been a part of that rebranding. They should have just said, we're going to put out The Flash straight to Max. We'll still have it in the theaters for people who want to go watch it on the big screen or see it on the IMAX and all that. But I think it would have given people an opportunity to subscribe because they've talked about how their subscriber rates have slowed down. Just about everybody, except for the only one who's growing right now is Netflix. And that's because Netflix got rid of their password sharing thing. But I assume that once people that were sharing their passwords all get their own accounts, that's going to level off as well. But everybody else has been sort of slowing down or going backwards a little bit. So this would have been a great way, I think, to get a lot of people on board. And And they should do, I think they should do like Disney does. They should take DC and have some movies. I mean, have some TV shows. Like, I think that, you know, the what is it? The Calvin, what's his name that Michael B. Jordan was talking about doing? Oh man.
The Black Superman.
Yeah, but I kept blanking on his name right now. But they should have maybe tried to work something out where instead of making that a movie right away, they made a series out of that. And so they could have had something where they had the Flash come straight to video, and then they could have had that. Was it Calvin Harris? I feel like that's a singer. Calvin Harris. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, that's a singer. I forgot Black Zod's real name, but
yeah,
that story is amazing.
But they should have started that as a series, and then take it to the big screen. So, and then they could just do the same formula that Disney does. Just have your series lead into the movies. The movies end up where you pick up, you can pick up where they left off in the movies on the series, and then just go back and forth and keep people roped in like that. So,
okay.
But you have to get people involved and you have to get people involved in the whole universe. Right now it's been fragmented. They start over, they stop, they start over, they quit, they change directions. It's like you just need to pick a direction. That's one thing I feel like Disney has done really, really well with with what's his name? Kevin Feige and the other dude, what's his Esposito?
Carlito Esposito,
the other producer, whatever one that works with Kevin Feige, that dude. They seem to have decided a direction for the MCU, and they have stuck with that direction. And they may veer off here and there and come back, but it seems like they have said, "This is our lane. We may swerve a little bit in that lane, but this is our lane. We're going to keep on this path." And I think the audience in large part has appreciated it. Some of the really hardcore fanboys may have some issues, but I think the general audience really appreciates the consistency and the direction and getting an idea of where things are going. And I think that they've been able to get a huge, huge following because of it. And I think if DC just simply picks a lane and commits to that lane for like 10 years, because the MCU has been doing this. They committed to this like 10, 12 years ago, So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say it was a good movie, but if you haven't seen it at this point, that bitch probably going to be dropping on streaming in another 2 weeks. So just sit tight, save your money. If you got, if you got Max, don't even worry about it, man. And that brings us to the stories that might piss some people off, especially from my opinions. And I'll just start with this one right here. Busted billionaires. So I haven't been around. I was gone last week when we had this whole debacle of the billionaires getting onto a submersible, going down, wanting to see the Titanic and shit, paying $250,000 a person. And for the longest time, the news was pumping up that they could be alive when a lot of people that have worked in the field knew that they was dead. I'm going to give you guys my harsh critique. Usually when you come to my channel, you get harsh critiques from Larry. But today, you're going to get very harsh. It's going to seem like I don't care, but I do care critiques. But first, let me get Larry up to speed on what's happening. Let's take a look at this video. Yeah, go for it.
Can I ask you a question before we move on there? Because I see a comment from DeMarcus Vaughn that says, "Bring Jonathan Majors back now that he's been proven innocent." Was he proven innocent? I missed something on that.
Well, he went to they haven't had the trial or anything, but it just seems like the evidence that he has and all that, unless the trial happened, and I haven't been keeping up with it. But DeMarcus Vaughn, let us know, because he did go to court like last week. So DeMarcus, come back and let us know what happened in that court visit so that we can be up to date on the latest information. But he did go to court last week.
Because I feel like if this case is moving forward, there's been no proof of innocence. I feel like if there's overwhelming proof that he didn't do anything, the judge has the option to dismiss the case, but it doesn't seem like with it moving forward that that's the case. So
exactly. Yeah.
You know, and
so here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go, Larry. Busted billionaires trying to see the Titanic. And we're going to get the voice of someone who has expertise in going down to see the Titanic. Take a look.
It shouldn't have been doing what it was doing. I think that's pretty clear. I wish I had been more vocal about that, but I think I was unaware that they weren't certified because I wasn't really studying it. I wasn't really interested. Stockton Rush asked me if I wanted to go out there and dive this season. You know, I wasn't interested. There was a lot of concern about this outfit and this sub. A lot of concern, even to the extent that I wasn't involved in it because I was making Avatar 2 at the time, but a lot of them got together and wrote a letter to OceanGate and said, you have to certify. You cannot take people down. It's irresponsible, and it could lead to catastrophe. Monday morning, when I first found out about the incident, got on a whole bunch of calls and emails. It's a small community. Within an hour and a half, I had the following information. They were on descent. They were at 3,500 feet. They lost comms and tracking. The last one being the critical one, because the transponder that's used to track a sub during descent and on the bottom is a fully autonomous system. It's in its own pressure housing, and it has its own battery power. So for them to lose comms and tracking at the same time, sub was gone. There was no question in my mind. For days, I tried to run other scenarios that could account for it. I could come up with nothing. So the next thing I did was contacted a few more people and managed to track down, there are acoustic networks around. Some are research, some are intelligence. We got confirmation within an hour that there had been a loud bang at the same time that that comms were lost. A loud bang on the hydrophones, loss of transducer or transponder, loss of comms. I knew what happened. Sub imploded. I sent emails to everybody I know. I said, we've lost some friends. The sub has imploded. It's on the bottom in pieces right now. I sent that out Monday morning. I never believed in that technology of wound carbon fiber, wound filament, cylindrical hull. I thought it was a horrible idea. I wish I'd spoken up.
So Larry, by now probably everybody knows about this story. We've kind of moved on. I just went back because I didn't get a chance to talk about it. Before I give my harsh critique, Larry, I'm sure you followed this story because you follow what goes on in the news. What do you think about 5 billionaires that knew that this thing wasn't certified and they actually signed a piece of paper, a waiver, saying that they was okay with it, go down there and get in the submarine, the thing implodes, and the news media gave them so much coverage, you would think that the president of the United States was down there. While we had some other issue going on with people in the ocean. Floor is yours, Larry, and I'll come back and finish this thing up.
Yeah, I as I was watching this, I just kept saying, you know what? I just don't care because it's so patently unfair the way this thing works. I mean, you had people off the coast of Morocco, I believe it was, that were going down, and they don't, and not only just that particular incident that didn't get any coverage. Only coverage I saw of it was a little bit on the ticker on the bottom of like CNN and some of the other networks that talked about it briefly. And, but we have seen time and time again that when you have people that are trying to escape from war, from famine, from poverty, from all kinds of horrible conditions, that they will get on a boat that's way overloaded and try and get to safety and to freedom. And you have people like from Greece, you have the Coast Guard from say like Greece, from Turkey, wherever, and they leave these people in the water. They won't help them. until their boat loses it, till the boat capsizes or people are gone overboard. They won't help them until they're actually in the water. And no one covers that. No one talks about that. The only time they talk about that is when you have local people that are fishing babies out of the water on the beach and posting videos of it on their cell phone, and it can't be ignored anymore. But you have a couple of billionaires that take their asses down and decide they're going to attach a couple propellers to a GoPro housing and go underwater with it, and then wonder why the thing blows up or implodes. It's just like, I mean, if this had been a rocket ship, they would have found out. They would have recommissioned the space shuttle and sent it up in space within a week and sent a rescue mission up looking for those folks. I mean, just because you're rich does not mean that you deserve any more special treatment. And I'll be perfectly honest, this may sound cold and calculated. I hope to God that whatever the Coast Guard and whatever other agencies spent money looking for these people, I hope they bill their estate for the rescue attempts. I hope they bill their estate for all of that, because it is utterly ridiculous that you send yourself down there with this uncertified submarine, you get yourself blown up or imploded up, and then our government has to go spend millions of dollars and hundreds, if not thousands, of man hours looking for them. I mean,
right?
You know what? An average person gets lost in the forest, and they will bill you for your rescue. They will bill you for helicopter fuel and for man hours when you have to go out there and get rescued. So I hope they bill these people for this rescue attempt. You know, the only thing that made me really sad about this was there was a 19-year-old kid on board, and his aunt was on there. Apparently he was close with his aunt, and he told his aunt he didn't want to go on this trip. He did not want to be on this thing. And he only went because his dad wanted to go, and his dad wanted some father-son bonding time. And it sounded like one of these things where you have a rich dad who spends way too much time working. He doesn't spend any time with his son because he's too busy doing whatever he does. And so he was basically forced his kid to go and spend this bonding time, and the kid got killed as a consequence. That was the only thing that made me feel bad about this, because that kid did not want to be there. He just was trying to please his father. And as we know biblically, that is what you were supposed to do. Be there, please your parents, do what your parents tell you. And he felt like from what his aunt was saying, he felt like he had to go, and he didn't want to be down there. And everybody else.
Yeah, I'm going to finish up for Larry so we can get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Larry basically shares my sentiment. It's just that I'm going to go a step deeper into the minutia than he went. I feel the only person I felt sorry for was that kid. I mean, like, my heart bleeds for him. But in any other situation where people sign away their rights, we hear the same people that's yapping their fat lip that, well, you know what you get into, you know what you signed for, is out here crying about some fucking billionaires. Yeah. So when the NFL got into that lawsuit about head trauma, I heard so many people complaining, well, they knew what they signed up for. Why should someone have to pay when they knew what they signed up for? Them the same MFers out here want to know why people not feeling remorseful about some fucking billionaires. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, the paradigm Larry explained between the people that got sunk off the coast of Morocco versus just 5 individuals who are just wealthy is sickening.
Yeah.
It's sickening. And it makes me sad that these MFers, and don't get me started, I'm not going to go into my diatribe about how American capitalism and all the loopholes in it is terrible, but that's a case of this. Signed away the rights, knowing that this was a bad ship, to go down there, potentially look for what? Old treasure that's supposed to be still down there. Look through a 15-inch window when you can sit there and go through any of James Cameron's stuff and see a great shot of the damn Titanic. a waste of $1 million
Yeah.
under a system that is not set up to help the people that work the system. Let me give you a statistic. Before these guys died, there was 2,600 billionaires in the world. Before they died.
Yeah.
Do you know that of all the world's wealth, those 26 billionaires account for 50%? There's only 8 million people on planet Earth. I mean, 8 billion, excuse me.
Right.
There's 8 billion people on planet Earth, and 2,600 of them have half of all the wealth.
Yeah.
And you want someone to feel remorseful for these guys when they always tell us these type of things. You know, we're trying to make things fair for everyone. No, you're not. We should be sorry at the loss of any life. Okay, why you didn't give airplay to those immigrants trying to cross the ocean in Morocco? Didn't do it. You know, you come here, you work your fingers to the bone, you can be like these billionaires. No, you're not. Stop it. Stop it. So that's why nobody has an appetite to hear about the loss of these guys' life when they knew what they was getting into. They signed away their rights. Nobody cares. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, I'm not going to jump up and down and celebrate their demise.
No,
but
no.
I'm not gonna sit there and mourn them either. I mean, for one, I don't know them, and two, it's like you're up there doing extraordinarily high risk activities, and then you basically paid the price of said risk. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, I get it. You know, I saw somebody on TV saying, you know, adventurers and explorers have always gone out into the world and done things, and they've often paid the price. Throughout history, you've had people that have gone out and explored the oceans and new lands, and they've paid the price, and they run into new people or animals or diseases. I get that. But when you commercialize that exploration, you know, when you're saying to people, this is safe. I've created a safe way for you to do this, and then it's not safe. Well, there's some responsibility there, but also when you sign your weights, when someone says, yeah, this thing's not certified, and it could be, it's like if someone says, we want to put you on a test flight to go to outer space, but we haven't certified that this ship is safe. I mean, am I feeling bad for you? No, I'm not. No. If you want to go down to a submarine, you're a billionaire. I bet you could have easily have gone on a certified submarine, and maybe it would have cost you, instead of $250,000 a ticket, maybe it would have cost you $400,000 a ticket. But guess what? You would still be alive at the end of the day.
Exactly. You still be living and kicking right now. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Lamont and Larry Live. I'm going to try to get us on a more workable schedule. Just have your notifications on Monday through Thursday. Me and Larry will probably be back next week. I just got to work my schedule out as best as I can. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe. Go check out my man Larry's channel. And your channel is right there on the screen. Come subscribe to me on the TikTok. And until that next Sex is Hell video, people, we out.
Peace.
Peace.